Hi, I'm Alan Ross, and this is another edition of Transformer Technology Legends. Our guest today is Beatrix Natter. She's the CEO of Transmission Products at Siemens. We're going to get into the interview. Beatrix, it is good to have you.
Thank you very much for the great introduction. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about something we are all passionate about here.
Yeah, that's excellent. And that's really what I want this podcast to be heavily focused on, because I see a lot of, and I must tell you, this is probably going to make other people quite upset, but when I give talks, and I do give a lot every year, and I'm ever mention about transformers or a problem, and I always say, and that was made by Siemens, who I happen to believe makes the best transformers in the world. And I've been in a conference where there were no Siemens people there, but there were some ABB and GE people. And of course, at the end, they always ask me, and I said, no. I said an opinion, in my opinion. So thank you, especially because this is a delight for me personally, because I do believe, having been in the transformer industry for a while now, I do see that Siemens is arguably the very best at what you all do. So your job is one that I believe sets the standard for the rest of the industry. And unfortunately, it's an industry that's changing and changing rapidly to price sensitivity away from excellence, reliability, and as you so aptly put in your article about reliability and efficiency, we've moved away from that too often to price, and I'm trying to push the market back to that. But let me get to a question that I think will help you tell us all about that. How do you see the development of this transmission products market, the one that you're responsible for, but especially power transformers? What's changing in the marketplace over the next few years?
So let me start right away with the good news, and that is we are strongly convinced that this is a market that will stay. It's growing. It's growing in a moderate pace, but it is growing. Plus, it is a market that contains a very critical infrastructure needed for electrification of the cities and our civilization. So we need to be sure that we have the right products and the right competencies on a worldwide basis to further sustain this technology, as you say, not only on a reliable, meanwhile also on a resilient basis. As you just said, if you allow me to go into the topic of reliability a little bit. In the past, so far, we were able to transmit huge energy contents over long distances, transmission business, on a reliable basis, simply because we had big power stations and one directional flow. The world changed, as you said. We have renewable energies coming in big times, leading to fluctuations in the grid, and we have new participants in the markets bringing energy into the grid, so that we have also bidirectional flows, which are also adding to the challenge of our utilities and transmission providers to ensure sustainable and reliable transformation of energy supply. That's the best way to put it. I just want to point out something to the resilience topic, because the grown infrastructure we have in transmission so far is also very secure, at least at the regulated areas, because there's this N-1 security attempt to ensure that if something happens, we can replace. But we have to learn, for instance, with Sandy in New York, that there can be events that are really destroying the energy supply for a city, or have the potential to do that. And then we have to be able to reinstall energy quickly. And specifically with the large power transformers we are needing in transmission, we have to come up with ideas how to sustain and ensure this in case something happens. And we need reinstallation of power with a new transformer within 1 week. And there's normally not more time in such a situation. So these are the topics we are passionate about and also working on together with our customers. And we believe there are opportunities and solutions out there where we will not change the technology of the transformer itself, that's pure physics, that we can only try to better understand, and there's certainly potential in that. But we can improve and change the paradigm for what purpose we are building transformers tremendously. Transformers are, from our perspective, of course, transmitting energy, connecting energy or voltage levels, and dividing potentials, but they can also be built in such a way that you can install them in a couple of days and transport them with oil filled on the streets with a truck in order to be there if another transformer fails. That's what I wanted to explore a little from the potential in this industry. So what I'm saying is we will move from reliability to resilient topics, affecting the design of our products on a worldwide basis and the materials we are using in these products.
I can see how you've put the reliability and resiliency together. It's a shame that the industry doesn't really see them as. I think reliability and resiliency are just two sides of the same coin. Resiliency, as you said, is getting it back up as quickly and as safely as possible when it comes down and having a system for that. Reliability is making sure that it accomplishes its designed goal, whether that's an asset or a system. Another one, and I want to ask this question as it relates to trends in the transmission industry, but another big issue for me is that people look at too much today on just an asset, so they look at the transformer as an asset, which is great. However, all assets exist in a system. And if the system has a weak link somewhere else in the system, the asset will not function. The reliability of a system is paramount. So talk to me a little bit about what do you see as technology trends in what we call the system called transmission, and what's happening in that?
Yeah. Well, the classical way of talking about the system in transmission would be the substation and the physical connection and the connection between its products in the substation. And this is exactly what we are focusing on now in our business to ensure that we have, if you wish, a connectivity that is going beyond copper cables between these products. And I'm really talking about the opportunity to go into Internet of transmission instead of Internet of Things by connecting our products not with copper cables but through a cloud with each other. And this is, I think, the next step in evolution, because if we combine this ability of our products to send data which we can analyze, we can also take this data and compare them with our simulations we did in order to build these products. What I mean, the digital twin. So historically seen, and I think this is really sensational, for the first time in our existence as an industry, we are able to observe our products in real-time environment and how it works, inside out. So we have applications now for large power transformers with a digital twin where we can measure its behavior via, of course, sensors in real time and compare the results with the simulation. At the end of the day, what we can do now is to have controlled overload conditions. So we know how much the transformer will be overloaded or is overloaded through the measurement, and we can predict by the minute almost what that means for its lifetime. That's the benefit of the new technology. That's the benefit of digitalization, and it is, of course, I think, really meaningful for our customer. But honestly, as a physicist, I can only tell you it's fascinating also for ourselves to really see that for the first time in combination.
You know, I have seen the digital twin demonstrated twice now, the Siemens digital twin. I actually use that in the talk to talk about the digitalization of the future. And most people we all get into the idea of it's machines talking, machine learning, AI. But the digital twin, it was presented by Bentley Systems at the Reliability Conference, which I thought was fascinating because they never really ever talk about electrical systems. And there was the digital twin from Siemens, the substation. You just talked about it a little bit, but I want to even go deeper in digitalization because that is changing everything. I think there are two big things happening in the utility industry, which is also going to happen downstream for all of the industrials and the commercial. Those two things are digitalization and security. And there seems to be an inverse reaction. People who see digitalization going up think it's unsecure because there's somebody in their basement trying to hack it. And people that think, well, if you're going to create more security, you're going to lock it down, and I don't want anything attached to it. And I don't want, so you seem to have this pull that between the two. I'm on the committee for the IEEE Smart Grid Cybersecurity, and we're hosting our conference up in December in Atlanta. And one of the things that we always struggle with is this future with digitalization and the fear that we're opening the grid up to a bunch of hackers because they can. Talk a little bit about that security and digitalization and where you see digitalization going beyond just the digital twin.
Great. First of all, I would like to define the term digitalization a little bit from our perspective. It contains two things. Digitization, so enabling the product to send data, and then, of course, using them to do put more functionality on the product itself, so the digitalization itself. I think that we will have a trend in our industry for own clouds, private clouds in the utilities. I don't think that there is another way ensuring the necessary cybersecurity. And on top of that, I believe that we will see a lot of analytics and data in this cloud not connected with the control of the system. As long as we keep the independent, we have a safe way because we cannot, whatever hacks it can for sure not influence the equipment itself. That's one thing. And the other thing is the current means of cybersecurity tools we are, of course, using. We are even going a Siemens beyond this. And so far, we have not seen too many weak links in that sense. So there will be a cloud infrastructure in our utilities. I'm sure about this. They will not use this infrastructure to control the system and the flow, but they will use the system in order to understand the influence of the flow and the way how to control it better, and also determine a better asset and lifetime management of the equipment.
Beatrix, I'm going to send a link, and I would love for you to find somebody from Siemens to come and talk about that in December, because that issue, the idea that you do the analytics in an analytical cloud separate from the control systems, whenever I've you've described it perfectly, better than I have in the past, but when I describe it to people, I say, you do all your data management, your analytics, your decision-making over here in the cloud, and then you inform the control system as what to do, but you do not control the system through the cloud. But that's perfect. I would love for somebody from Siemens to present at that. Okay.
And you pointed it out. I mean, data analytics, data management, that is for sure a very big area where actually already a lot is being done. The future and the big opportunity is real-time measurement, real-time analytics, and real-time data or results of this. What you can see with, for instance, I don't want to overstress our example, but it is true. You can determine real time how long a transformer lives, and you can adopt to this prognosis any time, because as long as you know in real time how the overload condition is, we can say what it means from a material aging perspective, how long it will hold. And these are things which have been not possible in the past. I think they are often not only opportunities to better control and utilize our grids and our infrastructure, they will give us new insights in the physics of our products. This is a technology more than 110 years old, I think, 120 years old. And has not been looked real time at high voltage ranges so far. Now we can. It's like a dream coming true. So, right, not only passionate about that, but our customers to have that opportunity, and that's why, as we told you, our customers will get our products at the same price, connected, digitally connected. It's their data, it's their cloud. All we can tell is have a look at it real time. It's fun.
Yeah, it's excellent. Part of the idea of digitalization is it scares some people. The next generation, and this is something that I would love to do a whole nother podcast and find out how you and Siemens are, but this transfer of knowledge from the current retiring generation to the next generation, we're not doing it very well. We're letting them be Google brains, and unfortunately, there is art and science, and you can Google science, but you can't Google art. And part of the art, part of the knowledge transfer is not happening. That is one of the reasons that we actually do this podcast, is we're trying to transfer knowledge so that next generation can pick up on the art of what we're talking about, and you're helping with that. What is your vision for the division, and what is your vision for the transmission industry, not just transformers, but transmission as a whole? You've kind of mentioned it a lot here, but is there a sum-up vision that you can give me?
Yes. We are, our vision and mission is, of course, to, first of all, ensure that this infrastructure, this critical infrastructure, is resilient and reliable and affordable at the same time. And with that, of course, we are targeting the leadership here in terms of technology and, partnership with our customers. This is important. As you just said, also intent with these technologies to attract the next generations, because we are able to visualize much more in manufacturing, in production, in engineering, in terms of math, in mathematics, in terms of drawings, in 3D models and 2D models, to such an extent that the access to this knowledge is much easier than in the past. So we believe that this is also adding to the attractivity that this industry has. It combines the opportunity to use new means of technology, communicative means like iPhone and iPad and whatsoever, but also the internet, the cloud, analytical methodologies, including, if you like, Watson from IBM, we are open to this, but it also has the physics still underneath it. Our products will not change because of digitalization. They stay the same. Physics is not affected by it, but it can be better understood. And if we understand it better, we can come up with new and better products. It would be time after such a long time, right?
Excellent. And it's a large one, and that's what we need, is big visions that can be accomplished by people with it. So one last quick question for you. So when you get up in the morning, what is it that motivates you to do your job well every day?
The people and the customer. Our team and the customer, that's for sure. And, of course, the passion for the technology. It is hard to really not love induction.
You know, these are, we're coming to an end here, but you've just hit on the key things that in this industry we all need to be cognizant of. Is the technology, as you said, transformer manufacturing technology hasn't changed as much, but the application, the paradigm shift is how are we making it safer, faster, better, cheaper, more resilient, more reliable. Those paradigms are changing, and we're going to a systems paradigm as opposed to an asset paradigm, and you've covered that well, because to me, digitalization will help forward that more than anything. But I appreciate the fact that it is about people, because this next generation desperately needs us. So this podcast is a podcast that is trying to get legends of the industry. And we are now speaking with Beatrix Natter, who is a future legend. And by that I mean the legends are usually people that we see at retirement or past retirement. And Beatrix, you've got a lot to do, and a very large vision ahead of you, and I appreciate the fact that you've shared that with us today. So our guest today has been Beatrix Natter. She's the CEO of Transmission Products at Siemens, arguably one of the best at what they do. Beatrix, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you very much.